So, I normally do these ever so formally. But this time, I'm going to award every one of you with some raw opinion, unedited. A video published January 24th, that's today is the day of recording, by MSNBC, indicates a shift in American foreign policy. As we all know, the inauguration of Donald Trump has changed quite a bit in regards to American policy generally, both foreign and domestic. Now, Trump's spokesman, I think it's a press secretary, has been asked a direct question. The direct question was, can you confirm that the United States will be sending troops into foreign countries in order to take their oil? In specific, they're asking about Iraq. And the press secretary's come back that he cannot confirm nor deny, and that it would be silly strategy to announce as to what it is the United States plans. I'm beyond words. The United States has now made it their policy, unequivocally and undeniably, to take part in the looting of foreign countries. To take part in not only the occupation of another country for the benefit of their own corporations, but they've now made those corporations ministers in the American government and directors of foreign policy. ExxonMobil now holds a place in the American governmental administration. For any one of you, for a single one of you that believes genuinely that somehow the United States is an exercise of the demos, is an exercise of the people deliberately and directly into power, you are full of shit, because you can't see for a moment exactly what it is that's staring you in the face. And that is the fact that every one of these corporate fucks, whether it's ExxonMobil, whether it's any American logging company or mining company, or any one of them, whether they operate in Nigeria, whether they operate in Libya, whether they operate in Syria, whether they operate in Iraq, every one of them is dictating your foreign policy to a fucking T. And now, the mask under which Obama, under which Bush, of civilization of the West, the veneer of freedom, the veneer of democracy, has just been taken off by this buffoon that thinks he can run a country. Any one of you who is currently enlisted in the American military, maybe you have friends that are enlisted in the American military, think for a moment about what you're supporting. You're supporting a state that has made it its fucking mandate to invade other countries deliberately, to subjugate directly in a colonial fashion its raw resources and its natural resources for the benefit of the motherland, for the benefit of the home country, for the people that decried so loudly about how British imperialism was so evil under the colonial empire and allegedly freed themselves with the silversmiths and newspaper owners and merchants of the American Revolution. Think for a second about what you're endorsing, and for a moment about what this country's become. Think for a moment about what it was that these people that you see as idealists and forefathers fought for, and consider that to what you just fucking elected into power. Consider for a moment the fact that it's not so different from what you've been doing the entire time. This entire time, whether it's under Obama, whether it's under Bush, whether it's under FDR, whether it's been under any American president, mostly post-World War II. Think for a second about how this wealth extraction happened without the guise and the mask being taken off as it already is. Think about the sudden new American deals that opened up after Iraq was taken over the first time and the second time. Think about what's happening right now in Syria regarding foreign interest. Think about Libya and how Libya, for a moment, was looking like a new African power that might form the Afro and change the way that oil works in the economy. Think for a moment about the fact that Africa might have been closed to an African Union thanks to the strength of Libya and think for a fucking moment about the Canadian, American, and Allied forces that bomb power plants, water desalination plants, and non-military targets to deliberately bury Libya into the fucking Stone Age. And think for a moment about this new policy that blatantly admits that the United States will not take off the table the fact that it is opening to submission the ability to enter a foreign country and loot it like the fucking Vikings they are. And think for a moment about what your response will be. Because if you think that your Trump inauguration protests and your liberal complaints and standing in the streets and screaming this checkpoint is closed and breaking trash cans will do something, think a fucking again. If you want to get something done, it can't be done through your liberal protest groups. You need to organize and do something. Read about how long this has been happening for. Read about how wealth extraction from the third world works, because it is now your fucking foreign policy, and your friends in the military are going to be bleeding in Iraq for it. I can show you evidence of a quote that this journalist's done with local Iraqi troops currently working in collaboration with American troops on the ground. And their self-determination and their right to it is defended rightly by these guys, who are saying that if the Americans came to take our oil, we would fight them. The Allies and the army that the Americans have spent so much time and so much American money withdrawn from Flint, Michigan, put into these people, will turn on them in a moment if this is their new foreign policy. So think again as to what your priorities are, and think again as to what your nationalism means, and think again as to what it means to say, I love my country. Do some reading. Figure out how this works. Links are in the description.